hello and welcome back to the champ.ie podcast. Special news this week. Well, first of all, it's Ronan Groome here filling in for Barry Doyle. Barry's out and about, busy planning our massive Cheltenham preview night happening on the Tuesday, the 3rd of March. Trojan work going on by Barry. He's got it done. He's got it over the line, and he's got Paddy Power of all people to back it. So, the people of Dundalk, this is a huge night. It's up in the Cairnberg Hotel on the Armagh Road. Tickets are €20 on the night. We have Desi Scahill on the MC. We got Keith Donoghue, David Mullins, our very own Thomas Coyle, my good self, Brendan Duke, and Frank Hickey, one of the shrewdest judges in the game for our preview night. So it's going to be absolutely massive. But less about that and more about the weekend. I'm joined on the line by Jason Kiely from France. How are you doing, Jason?
Yeah, very good, Ronan. Nice to be back here again after a couple of weeks off.
Excellent. Andrew Blair White's back again. How are you going, Andrew?
Yeah, very good, Ronan. How are you?
Yeah, very, very, very well. And we have Thomas Coyle again. All right, Thomas, all good?
Hi, Ronan. How are you? All's good, thanks.
Yeah. Not speaking to you since Diali ran last weekend. You must have been pleased with the way it worked out.
Yeah, delighted. As he was probably the most inexperienced horse in the race, having his first run. The horse that won it is, I think, he's second favourite, third favourite now for what was the Fred Winter. So probably wasn't a bad horse to come across. So look, my lad will come on an absolute ton for it as well. So he's a really nice horse. Looking forward to the future with him. So I am.
Yeah, for a horse that inexperienced on that sort of ground as well, that was, you have to be pleased with that. He just got tired in the end, didn't he? Look, he went with him and he just got tired.
Yeah, he doesn't want it that extreme. He wants just proper soft ground. So no, we're delighted. Jump like a buck, and no, we're really looking forward to him now. We get him out now in about 4 or 6 weeks again. So hopefully he'll do one better the next day.
Excellent. And Jason, what is the latest on Easy's Land? You, of course, are the groom of Easy's Land, and as you said yourself, bidding now to be the most hated man in Cheltenham, I think you refer to it as in a couple of weeks. What's the latest on the stable star?
Yeah, Ronan, if that's the case, I'd happily take that title as the most hated man in Cheltenham next Wednesday, 2.5 weeks time nearly now. Yeah, he's going well, touch wood. I'm going to put him up here now for it's about time I've got around to this. I've avoided it for a couple of weeks, and before the price gets any shorter, I'm going to fire him up for my Cheltenham bet of this week. He's in at about 3-1. Look, he's going excellently at home. Couldn't be happier with him. Everything that's going to run in the race up towards the top of the field has ran now. Look, we seen Yanworth the other day. He got stuffed. He's out of the question. Never Rush a Con. He won. Probably not good enough. It looks between the two, really. There's no French challengers coming over of any interest. The Cliers, I don't think, are going to come over. And the Bulger has said this week that the French horse will be a hard nut for Tiger Roll to crack. Look, we can only do our best, and we're going to come over and been giving Keith Donoghue there a bit of banter on Instagram, sending him videos. I'm trying to teach Easy's Land how to roar like the Tiger as well. And sure, we'll see how we get on anyway. But all in all, it should be a great race. Two very, very nice horses, very good horses, take each other on. And if we can spoil the party, so be it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is a great race, and it's good he has Tiger Roll as something to face this year properly in that race and test him out for Aintree as well. So that's your bet for Cheltenham. Andrew, what about you? What are you putting up this week for the festival?
Well, I'm trying to keep it to mostly big price horses so we can hopefully get one over the line. And there was one horse that actually raced today at Thurles. I fancied him for the Martin Pipe before today, and I still fancy him after the race. It's a horse called Front View, who's now 20-1 for the race, which I think is a complete over-exaggeration for his run today. He was second to 5 o'clock, but he made a mistake at the last, and he was squeezed out of it just before the last. So I think he was going to run a much better race than the finish 6 lengths would suggest. And Joseph O'Brien won the race last year with similar connections. I'm not sure who he'd get to ride in the race this year, but I think he's a big price. I'd say he'll run in the race now. He'll go up a couple of pounds for that effort today in a Grade 3 contest, and I'd be very interested at him at a big price of 20-1.
Excellent. Yeah, all the handicap entries out today for Cheltenham, of course, and the weights come out next week, which is the all-important information, I guess. What about you, Thomas? Anything for the festival?
I'm going to go for a horse I'd say not too many of you have heard of, but a friend of mine has a horse. It's entered in the Grade 3 this weekend in Fairyhouse. It's a horse called Van Meergren. He ran an absolute cracker the last day to finish a length behind Gordon's horse, Battle of the Wills, who's also in the Grade 3 at the weekend. Nigel Slevin trains the horse. He'd be a very good friend of mine. We used to point down the years, and we're still best of buddies. He really likes this horse. He has him put into the Fred Winter. If he gets in off a nice weight, he could be hard bet because he does rave a bit about this horse. He's in this weekend. He doesn't get any allowances off the horse for beating him the last day, but if he can sneak into the Fred Winter. He's actually not massive price. He's not what I've seen 20 and 25s. But him and Gordon's horse were a long way clear in Naas the last day. So he's definitely one to keep on the radar. Have a look at him this weekend and make your mind up from them. But he's expecting the Bowl Show again this weekend. So there's one for you to keep an eye on.
Who trains that, Thomas?
Nigel Slevin. He's from Rathmalline. He'd be a good friend of mine. He's horses like Mr. Bossman. Won a few for him. He's shrewd. He's very shrewd man. He's horses on the flat there. Jimmy, what's his name? Take a Chance on Jimmy has won a couple for him. And
Won in Navan a few times. Yeah,
he did, and he won in Dundalk and that as well. So no, Nigel knows the time of day. He got this horse from Jack Davison. He flopped. I think he was sick the first day he pulled up, but that run the last day, he looked like he was going to get absolutely well stuffed up the straight. And to be fair to the horse, he battled the whole way, and he was the only one to give the horse a race. Gordon has Battle of Wills in the Triumph, so it could be a good omen. To keep an eye on them too for this weekend if they match again.
Yeah, Gordon gave Battle of Wills a good shout at his open day there. All the big trainers had their open day. Cheltenham organised the press outings there. I was down at Emmet Mullins' on Wednesday, and I suppose the horse I took out of it only reinforced my belief in this Asterion Furlonge. I just cannot see how he's not favoured for the Supreme, lads. He's done way more than Shishkin has. And people say Shishkin's all about the potential and all that, and he might be better in a better races. So is this Asterion Furlonge. He's only had 2 runs. What he did at Leopardstown I thought was sensational, and Willie is all over him for the Supreme. So that's good enough for me. But look, lads, we'll crack on with Kempton. I suppose is the main port of call this Saturday. We have the rescheduled Kingwell hurdle, but we also have good races like the Pendle and the Adonis and the Dovecote. We'll start with the Pendle. Andrew, I might come to you first. What do you make of this? It's the return of Reserve Tank, I think, who's obviously disappointing the last day when he was seen. Would you give him another chance, or would you look elsewhere?
I must say I wouldn't be giving him another chance. I've been very windy about his jumping all year, and he hasn't impressed me any time. He's run over fences. I think some of his efforts last year, I know he was a dual Grade 1 winner as a novice hurdler, but I think those efforts can be flattered, really. He was facing horses that were at the end of a long, hard season after he'd had a pretty easy time of things early on in his novice hurdle career. I'd be siding instead here with Master Tommy Tucker for Paul Nicholls. He likes Kempton. He beat Who Dares Wins, and he stuffed Thomas Darby before running in the Coyle Star Novices Chase last time out on Stephen's Day. He fell in that race. Look, he's the type of horse, he's a bit low at his fences. He can be either superb or he can be a bit chancy. He's the type that kind of flicks the top of them. But he's a good horse. He's a very strong travelling horse. And I think the drop back to 2.5 miles will be in his favour here. And I think if he can get into a good rhythm out in front, it will take a fair horse to catch him. And especially considering Reserve Tank is prone to the odd mistake, this horse could really put that to the sword. And 3-1 will do me.
Yeah, you have to be careful with the way you say Tommy Tucker, don't you? Jeez, he wouldn't be shouting that in a fast finish. Could be in big trouble. I like Comanche Red here, Thomas. What do you reckon? Good solid form there last day, beating Simply the Bets, or is there another one you're looking at?
Yeah, look, I was going to give Reserve Tank one more chance myself. I just thought maybe it was a bit of a muddling race with 3 runners the last day. As Andrew said, he's a dual Grade 1 winner. Look, I do like Master Tommy Tucker, all right, but just he's fell twice of his last 2 runs, and for 3-1, you'd want a bit more than that for him to be getting round in good races like this. It's moderate enough, I think, bar them. Emmett's obviously won't go over. He fell the other day. But no, I'll give Tizzards one more go to give weight all around, and I think he'll get his career back on track this weekend.
Okay, one go each. I might just crack on because the Adonis Juvenile Hurdle, we really need a French racing expert here, and lo and behold, we have one in the shape of Jason Kiely, because the top 2 in the market, well, top 3 even, all hail from France. Well, they originally do, and now obviously trained in England and Ireland. Jason, what did you make of this? Can you give us any insight to that sort of French form, the likes of Solo and Fujimoto Flyer?
I can, Ronan, and I believe that the fit for me, unless there's a problem, unless there has been a problem with Fujimoto Flyer, I reckon the favourites are definitely, without any doubt, the wrong way around here. Solo, in my book, is definitely no way better a horse than Fujimoto Flyer. I'm probably going to take the reins on this race a little bit. Going to start off with Fujimoto Flyer here. Listed winner, obviously, last winter when we've seen her win in Ante. I don't know if you've looked into the form of that race, lads. She's after getting given a mark in France. Compared to the mark of Solo, who's got 146 for just winning a novice hurdle. Fujimoto Flyer, if I go through what she's beat in Ante last time, she's beat Want of a Nail, who, if ran in England right now, would be running off a mark of 156. Beat that by 9 lengths. The 4th horse has finished second in a Grade 3. The 5th horse has won a Grade 3. The 2nd horse has won a Grade 2 and a Grade 3. The 2nd horse is also a brother to a Gold Cup winner, a brother to a Champion Hurdle winner. This horse just looks an absolute airplane if there hasn't been any problem. The way that she won the last day, loves the soft ground, jumped, travelled, a little bit gassy, probably just needs to be covered up, and probably what could beat her in this race would be no pace, but I can't massively see that happening. By a country mile, I think this horse is better than Solo. Yes, Solo was impressive first time out. The form of the first run hasn't really worked out. 146, probably see this horse handicapping eventually. I'd say probably not that much better than that going off any form we have. The family isn't much good. I don't know how much they paid for it. I don't want to know. I'm probably going to knock a lot of people here, but I really don't think that it's as good as they've cracked out to be. The other Simon Muir, Isaac Field horse, Nana Bell, won down in Cannes-sur-Mer over the winter, which is kind of notorious for not being as good form as the Parisian form. Didn't do anything wrong. A nice little family. 137, probably room to improve off that mark. Probably good enough to get placed in this, but for me, Fujimoto Flyer is an absolute penalty here this weekend. If there's been nothing wrong with it in the meantime, haven't seen it run for 170 odd days. Very, very, very impressive. I was there that day. Very, very impressive in Ante.
He's all in. That's fun.
I'm all in.
Excellent insight. I mean, we should be backing it for the Triumph then in that case as well, Jason. What do you reckon?
If it goes, yeah. But whether they'll just come back to France. Yeah, whether they'll just come back to France. There's a very nice program for 4-year-olds in France in the springtime as well. On ground that they're going to get. I think the heavier ground, the better. They took the horse out in Roscommon because the ground was fast. But it looks like it probably would have bolted up in Roscommon that day anyway, in all-known form, even with fast ground. But I'd say the job might be come back over to France and steal a bit of prize money over here. I'd say it looks very, very good. I was there that day. Everybody was gobsmacked.
Really? Wow, that's amazing. I mean, Emmet Mullins has shown himself to be quite shrewd so far, hasn't he? Got this horse out of Japan, and obviously found the race for it there as well. Yeah, it looks good.
For a few quid in time.
I'm sure he did. Yeah, I'm sure he did. Himself and Paul Burton owned it.
If you have it, go and look at the family of the second place from that. The family is incredible. It's the best in France. The two brother and the sister have won multiple grades. it's the best company in France. Device, Whetstone, and So French. They're 3 champions in France, and that's the horse that finished second to Fujimoto Flyer the last day, and has franked the form since. I think this is a machine, this horse.
Right. We're all in. Andrew,
8 points to play.
Are you taking him on?
Well, based on that, I don't feel I should. No. Look, he was the horse I'd have landed on anyway. I'm a big fan of Emmet Mullins, and it's great to see him get a horse that's being owned by Simon Munir and Isaac Swade. Obviously top owners, and to keep the horse in his care is brilliant for him. One I was just interested in at a price here is Trem Wedge. I saw he's around the 14, 16 to 1 mark. Formerly trained by Elmarie Holden, now over with Alan King. He's just got very interesting form tied in with Cerberus and A Wave of the Sea. Now, I've been banging on about A Wave of the Sea pretty much all year, so I'm not going to desert him now. He was also in front by 2.5 lengths of that Saint Daru, who won very impressively last week from Thomas's horse. So I just think his run last time out in England on stable debut was in a novice hurdle behind Chantry House, now back in juvenile territory. I think 14, 16 to 1's probably just too big a price, maybe for an each way play.
Okay, Trem Wedge for you. What about you, Thomas? Anything there?
No, I'll stick with Emmet as well. The one claim to fame I have with Emmet is we both trained our first winner on the same day back in June 2017. So we done the course together, and got friendly with Emmet over the years. And no, look, she looks a very good filly, and I hope she progresses to something very nice for him. We'll just keep Jason around for any French form, and we'll know what the crack is.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, fantastic insight there. We'll go on to the Kingwell hurdle, lads. We're looking at Pic D'Orhy here, probably trying to book a champion hurdle ticket, maybe. Fuse of the Raffles back after disappointing in the Christmas hurdle. You got Chitty Bello in there. Song for Someone, Kel Destan. Thomas, do you want to have a first stab at this? What did you make of it?
Yes, recovery mission really for Fusel Raffles after the last day. One horse that could be interesting. It's off a long break. Elgin of Alan King's as well.
Yeah.
They had gone the flat route after, and he'd racked up a bit of a concession, like a couple of wins, and he'd gone up to nearly 100, I think, on the flat. He's a decent horse. He's been off for a while, probably needing a run. But yeah, it's a decent little race. You have Fred in there as well, getting the 5-year-old allowance. But if I was back and one, I might take a chance on Fusel Raffles. His form up to the blip the last time. As you said, if a horse wins this well, he could book themselves an outside ticket for a champion hurdle. So I'll take a chance with him. So,
absolutely. And Jason, what you make of it?
I've kind of morally with myself, I've got no choice in this but to go with Pic D'Orhy. I've written a couple of articles on this horse. Never backed it, and then it won the last day, and I forgot all about it. I didn't write anything about it. His form is excellent. I'm going to touch back to France again, but I'll be quicker this time. His form in France as a 3-year-old is excellent, very good, best form in France as a 3-year-old. Paul Nicholls was in Auteuil the day he ran and fell, actually, and he loved him that day. Unfortunately, he just fell in what looked like a very good race. Judging on all-known form in France, 152 is probably still too low for him, so you're probably not wrong. It could be a champion hurdle if he wins this. I'd be more in the camp of thinking that he might be a next year Arkle horse, possibly, if we could have a look at that at some stage. 2 miles and jumping fences looks to be his bag, although like he did fall, but he ran over fences as a 3-year-old as well. He's a very big horse, very nice horse for jumping. To me, he should win this. I like Chitty Bello as well. You always have to fear Chitty Bello. Drop margin back down in grade again. Although 4 to 1 is probably as short as you'd want to be with that. But no, Pic D'Orhy for me probably should be winning this, and have a look at another couple of grade ones with him again after that.
Yeah, Nicholls thinks the world of him. I think he always has, and yeah, he's got to be supplemented, I think, hasn't he? If he does win, but they might be tempted if he wins easy. Andrew, what did you think? Are you with Pic D'Orhy, or are you looking elsewhere?
I'm looking elsewhere, I must say. Look, he could well have very good form over in France. I wouldn't know the French form at all, to be honest. But from what I can see, like if we're basing it on bare facts, he's won the Betfair hurdle by half a length, and it's one of the worst Betfair hurdles I've ever seen. Like I don't know how anyone is putting this horse up as a potential champion hurdle horse. I know it's a bad race this year, but like I said it a few weeks ago on this podcast, it seems any horse that wins any sort of handicap is being thought about for the champion hurdle now. I couldn't have him for that race. Look, he probably has a bit of a squeak in this race. I'd say he'll run instead of Cheltenham. Harry Captain's already jocked up on him, so I'd say Cheltenham won't run. One that I just think is a mad price. I loved him when he was with Willie Mullins. Was Quick Grab 'em. He's 33-1 for this race. He obviously won the Royal Bond last year. Now he hasn't been the same horse since returning from an injury, but second star for Fergal O'Brien. He was well beaten the Christmas hurdle, but that was a strong enough race. This doesn't seem to be anywhere near as strong a race, and I just think 33-1 is just a mad price for him, and I'd be taking that.
All right, very good. Very good, very good. We'll move on, gents. We have the Dovecut Novices Hurdle. Didn't really strike me as a fantastic renewal. But maybe you think different, Thomas. What did you think? You have Buzz up there is probably going to be favourite. Highway 102, Son of Camus, West Cork. Anything there that jumped off the page for you?
Yeah, look, the favourite is probably going to be hard bet, but I like West Cork. He won a point down in Lisserone, which is in good heart of Tipperary and is usually a good point. And he won well that day. Derek O'Connor rode him for Timmy Hyde. He's gone on then, and he was second in 2 hurdles, but he's won his last 2 outings, and he won well the last day. He bet an odds-on favourite, Nicky Henderson's, whose name isn't just coming to me. But he done it easy, and he's a horse that could improve and could be a nice horse in the future. Like he's only had 5 runs altogether, so he's plenty of room for scope to improve, and he might give the favourite something to think about here. So he will.
Right, Jason, anything for you there?
Apart from the top couple in the market, I didn't really have a strong opinion. I've got a bit of a funny one in this race. I don't know if you've seen Fantastic Mr. Fox in this race, or Mrs. Fox. Sorry, Fantastic Mrs. Fox. She's also entered in the Adonis. She's about 7-1 in the Adonis. I think she's jocked up in that as well. But you know, compared to the Adonis, this looks a way easier race, albeit the older horses are allowed running it. She gets nearly stone off the field. She's in here at about 20-1, and if I was Noel Williams, I'd nearly be taking a chance in this and go and try and be placed in your grade 2 here, then try and be placed in your grade 2 in the Adonis, because that looks with Solo and Fujimoto Flyer, that looks a hell of a race. That so 20-1 if that ran.
Well, Nanabelle probably will run, won't he? Sorry, Jason. Nanabelle probably will run. They won a split. Meniere's will win.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. Yeah.
Will you take that line with her?
You would if you were Henderson. This looks a much easier race, although not a certainty all the same. But there's a thing that I said this to somebody today. It really annoys me in this race. I'm going a bit off point here, but I'd like to say it. We always talk about horse welfare and how we love our horses and stuff, and like rightfully so. We live for them, you know. But the horse down the bottom of this race, why they go and enter this race? It's never jumped a hurdle in its life. It's going to jump off there in the middle of them and cause absolute carnage. I think we should have some rule against running these in this race. I couldn't believe it when I seen it. 251 never jumped a hurdle in public. Go away there and run a fake number somewhere else, you know.
I completely agree with you. But it brings me back to time. Remember when they used to run those horses? Sorry, Jason, go on.
Yeah, if you're a trainer, you know, by your code of ethics to being a trainer, you know, you surely have the horse's best welfare in mind. Now, I don't know William the best turner, but he's had about 4. I've had more runners than him, and I don't even have a license. Basically, put it that way. So I don't know. He must not like his horses, but he has to seriously think about what he's doing here if he really thinks he's going to run that. It's dangerous more than anything, I believe, for jockey horse and the other horses around.
I suppose we are only at entry stage now, so you might naturally get declared. But it does remind me of the time. Remember when the trainer name escapes me, but he used to always run, or the owner even used to always run his horses in the champion hurdle and champion chase, and they'd be 500 to 1.
Yeah, I can't remember the name either, but you can just you could go up to go into smaller marks and give them a chance to Ante, you know.
Yeah, right, you are. I agree with you, but we'll see what happens. I might just crack on then to the Betway handicap chase. Obviously, declarations here, Andrew. So probably a bet you can have a better look at it. What did anything appeal to you out of the race?
Yeah, I was actually quite keen on one here. Double Shot. He's around 8 to 1 for the race. He was second in the race last year to Neil Mulholland's horse Walt for rating a 154. He's now rated 150. The main reason, though, behind it is he just absolutely loves Kempton. He won a course and distance handicap, which was, I think, the last ever televised race on Channel 4. That's a fun but useless fact for you at the end of 2016. And he was second, obviously, in the King George to Might Bite, only beaten, I think, a length in 2017. He does need slightly better ground, but the ground is drying up. I saw there was a bit of money for him today, so hopefully he's being primed for a race at the track and over this sort of course and distance. And I think 8 to 1's a fair each way price.
What was the name again, Andrew? I think I interrupted you there stupidly.
Double Shuffle.
Double Shuffle, of course. Yeah, Kempton specialist. Anything for you there, Thomas, out of the race, the Betway handicap chase?
Yeah, I actually like Double Shuffle as well, just coming down the weights. But I've come to one at the bottom of the handicap. Dr. Richard Newland, a very, very shrewd trainer. And he is Nico de Bonville up doing 10 stone. Dashing Perk is the name. He also won an Irish point. He was a fair hurdler with doing nothing special, but he's had 3 runs over fences since October, and has been improving, and I think with a lightweight in his back, he's about 12 or 14 to 1. He could run into a place here. As I said, the trainer is shrewd and good jockey booking with that kind of weight, so that took my eye. So he could be worth a stab in the dark with.
Yeah, interesting one. Dashing Perk there for Dr. Richard Newland. And Jason, anything for you with the declarations and everything?
Yeah, race I like this one. Going to have a hunt out at the bigger prices like the lads as well. Not sure if this is the best idea, but Mr. Malarkey and this ran a blinder in the Hennessy. Just ran no start of the race the last day. He's ran plenty well fresh in the past, so he's had 2.5 months off now. Colin Tizard, he probably wouldn't run him if he didn't fancy him in this. He's a bit of a specialist with these kind of things. Colin Tizard, John O'Neill on board, so that's obviously a positive jockey booking. Ran a blinder in the RSA a couple of years ago. It could be, he might run no race again, but at the same time, he's a course and distance winner. There's plenty of positives to take from him. If you look back, if you excuse his last run, there's some positives to take from him. And at 16 to 1, I'd have a go at Mr. Malarkey.
Not too bad. Yeah, you wouldn't begrudge Colin Tizard the winner this week after the bad news with Native River. I was absolutely gutted with that, to be honest. Not that I actually was going to back the horse right now. I just really liked the horse. I just thought he'd be good to see him, even in the National as well. But obviously Native River won't be at Cheltenham and won't be at Aintree, and that's a pity. But might get off the board there at Mr. Malarkey. Right, lads, we'll crack on to the Irish scene. We mentioned the Grade 3 race briefly already at Fairyhouse, but we'll go and do the Bobby Joe. Obviously, a bit of Willie Mullins bingo going on here, Andrew. I would imagine Burrow Saint will run back at Fairyhouse. Did you have an inkling of who else might join him, or a fancy if someone did turn up?
Yeah, I wasn't really sure myself, Ronan. It's obviously very hard to know with Willie Mullins in these types of races. I thought Bell's Hill might run here before maybe potentially going back to the Irish National. He seems to be a bit better going right-handed than left-handed on just overall form. He was 5th in the Irish National a couple of years ago at the track, obviously, and even that day he jinked left at the last. It was a very odd mistake. I don't know whether it was tiredness or or whether something happened.
He blamed the Willie Mullins blamed someone in the crowd, like a steward or something, was the shine of his jacket, or like a high vis jacket or something. I remember reading that story, that the horse caught that in his eye or something.
Yeah, well, I just thought if it was tiredness that was the reason, he certainly wouldn't have gone out and won the Punchestown Gold Cup a few weeks later, which he ended up doing. So it does make me feel that it was maybe something like that instead of tiredness. But anyway, he's a class act. He hasn't particularly looked himself this season, but maybe a return to a right-handed track, a place he's done well at before. I'd say Burrows Saint probably will run in this race a bit like Rathvinden did last year on the way to the Grand National itself. It could be the two of them though, and I'd put a bit of preference on Bell's Hill to come back to his old form and maybe get back on track for an Irish national bid.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's taken out the Gold Cup, Bell's Hill, so this might be the thinking behind what Willie Mullins is thinking anyway. Anything for you, Thomas? Obviously, it's entry stage and we don't know what's going to run, but is there anything that interests you if they did run?
Yeah, look, I think if Burrows Saint arrives, he wins. As he won the Grand National as a novice last year. He had a lovely run over hurdles the last day in Punchestown, winning. Yeah, look, it's going to be hard to know, but I think if he does turn up, he's going to be hard betting this.
Okay, lads, and then we go on to Naas on Sunday. A kind of Cheltenham Trials day at Naas. We have a decent novice, the Grade B handicap chase there. We have Andy Dufresne is probably going to run in the Grade 2. And what else do we have? That Grade 3 with the likes of Hardline and Ornua, Articulum might run there. Is there anything, lads, that you like? Go to you first, Thomas. Is there anything at Naas in any of those races that you kind of were hoping will turn up and might be interesting on the day?
Yeah, look, as I said before, I'm looking forward to seeing Nigel's horse run in the Grade 3, Van Meergen. It'll show a light on, if Gordon's horse runs as well, it's going to shine a light on maybe the Triumph and the Fred Winter. The Grade B handicap novice chase, I think Ted Walsh's horse is in off the low weight. He'll have a good chance in it. And also Ross O'Sullivan's is down near the bottom as well. Theatre World and Bazio, that is. And just in the handicap hurdle, Philip Rotwell's horse won very well the last day. Wolf of All Streets, Adam Short, who rides a few horses for me. I think there's still a bit of improvement in him, and he could be one to watch in the big handicap as well, the 2 mile hurdle.
Lovely stuff, Wolf of All Streets. Anything for you, Andrew? Jump off the page there at Naas on Sunday.
Yeah, I've one that I'm going to take a bit of a flyer on in the 440, the handicap hurdle. Horse I really liked on the flat. He hasn't lived up to it over hurdles, but Johnny Murtagh's Baba Boom, he's off here of 109. 3 fairly moderate maiden hurdle runs. There's kind of no disguising that, but he's in here off. He's well treated on his flat form if he can convert that in any way 2 hurdles. He was bought by JP McManus after winning a few flat handicaps, I think 2 summers ago. So I would assume with that you'd be expecting the horse to pay his way in some variety over hurdles. And I just thought I did like him on the flat. I put him up at the start of the year as a horse to follow. Now that hasn't worked out very well, but I'd be giving him a chance in a handicap here of 109.
All right, Baba Boom, yeah, very good. And Value, I thought, was interesting in the novice handicap chase. Did me a bit of a turn in the 8 points there a couple of weeks ago, and returning to the course and distance where he's recorded his last 2 wins off a mark of 130. I thought he might be interesting if he turned up. Jason, you have one at Fontwell of all places, so crack away there. You have the floor.
I have one at Fontwell. I don't know if we're going to get much of a price on it, but it's probably just worth watching with Cheltenham in mind. Bob and Co runs in the 100 chase in Fontwell. Winner the other day there he won by half the track for David Maxwell, who's been getting a bit of abuse lately. David Maxwell, he fell off Captain Catterstock yesterday when it looked like he was going to win. But to be fair to him, he he rides all the horses himself. You know, he buys them away. He gives plenty of business to people, pays plenty of bills for people by buying their horses off them. You know, fair play to him, I say. He rides Bob and Co there tomorrow now, should go away and win, and he's in, I think he's about 10 or 12 to 1 for the Fox Hunters in Cheltenham. We're only 2 or 3 ahead of him in the betting now, and I spent a lot of time in Britain there, and I'd be a big follower of the Point to Pointing and the amateur side over in Britain, and to see this fella line up in the Fox Hunters now is always good to see, and hopefully Bob and Co can go in for him in the Hunter Chase tomorrow and line up there with a cracking chance in Cheltenham.
Very good. So that's Bob and
he
Co.
still, for me, he had the best line all year in an interview. Your man goes, are you enjoying the riding? He goes, yeah, it's the best fun you can have with your trousers up.
He's a good out. He's 55 or something like that.
Yeah. Oh no, fair play to him. I have no qualms with him. Fair play to him. He gets out and he gets stuck in. Yeah.
If you have the money and you can do it, why not?
Exactly.
Yeah, and he buys away off everyone, and he pays now a bill or two and helps the lad out and buys horses off them. Yeah, we should have more people like him, really.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, great stuff, lads. So we'll quickly do bets of the weekend. Andrew, you can go first. Your main fancy or the horse you're looking forward to most, or whatever you think. What is it?
Well, of the races we've already covered, probably my main one would be Double Shuffle in the Betway Handicap Chase at Kempton. But one we haven't discussed yet. It's a very moderate contest. The 327 at Fairyhouse. I'm very keen on a horse called No Grey Areas for Martin Hassett. Second in 2 bumpers. One at Naas, one at Thurles. He was very unlucky at Thurles. He was done on the bob. He's a horse with a bit of ability, and he's running off a mark of 98. I just can't see him being a 98 horse. I think he's a bit better than this. And actually, I think he could be well chucked in here on handicap hurdle debut. He's running a few decent enough maiden hurdles the last month or so. And if he can get screwed on, he's a bit of a headstrong type. But if he can have his head screwed on Saturday, I think he'd have a massive chance in the 327.
Mark it down, the 327 at Fairyhouse. Thomas, anything for you then? A bet of the weekend?
Yeah, just in Naas on Sunday in that Grade 3 chase. Articulum. I know his jumping hasn't been great at the minute, but if he gets his act together, there's a big race in him. He's getting £11 off Hardline. There is £12 on official ratings. But I think if he's a horse, if he gets his jumping together, he's a course and distance winner. He won't be far away.
Very good. And I have a feeling, I know the answer to this question already, Jason, but go ahead and confirm your bet of the weekend.
Yeah, I will be going Fujimoto Flyer. Of course. What else? For Emmet Mullins, he looks like he's got a superstar in his hands, or a potential superstar anyway. Let's hope that she continues the good. I nearly said a French word there. Let's hope she continues the good run of form and becomes a real champion for him at a point that would be very, very crucial in his career. And best of luck to them with her this weekend.
Yeah, God help the PMU shops over there when Jason Kiely arrives around them. They better be stocked up on cash anyway if she gets it done.
You can't take the price. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And a quick last plug for the Cheltenham preview night. Sadly, no Jason Kiely or Andrew Blair White on the panel, but I'm sure we'll have more of these nights coming up. But Thomas, you're obviously looking forward to it on the panel. It'll be a big night, and fair play to Barry for getting it done and getting it over the line. But you're looking forward to it?
Yeah, can't wait. It'd be something really to look forward to, and there seems to be a good buzz around the place about it already. You hear people talking about it. A lot of credit has to go to Barry. I've seen things that he had gone to Paddy Power and other bookmakers with. He really pushed it forward, and fair play to him. I hope it's a good night, and looking forward to it, and hopefully we get a crowd out and hopefully pick some winners for them and keep it going.
And it's a lovely panel, lads. You have Keith Donoghue there. Anyone who's been following Keith Donoghue this year on his bookmakers.com blog, absolutely brilliant insight to all Gordon's runners. You have David Mullins, who's going to be...
exactly. We have it from the two. We have it from the two best sides on two best yards this side of the Irish water. Any questions that anyone has, the two boys are gonna fire out answers to them. So if people are around and they have a few questions for the boys will be happy to answer anything for them, and it should be a good night.
Excellent, yeah, and a few of Brendan Duke there as well, who's might have a runner and is always good value for a laugh. And Frank Hickey, who I can't stress enough, is one of the shrewdest judges in Irish racing, I think, and British racing, of course, as well. He's there from Paddy Power, so he's not just any old rep from the bookmakers. We got a real good judge there as well, and obviously Desi on the mic. So yeah, a big night for everyone. That's Tuesday, the 3rd of March. If you're around in Dundalk or anywhere, Meath, Louth, up the north, Dublin, all distances, come up and have a look. The tickets are €20, and obviously all proceeds go to the Irish Injured Jockeys Fund. But that's it from this week, lads. Listen, thanks for joining me, and have a good weekend all, yeah?
Cheers,
Just have yourself